Hey, Bitsy Loo, how are you? Hey, Miss Shirley, how are you? I don't know how I am. My brain is fried. I mean, it is absolutely fried. I feel like I could just sit and stare at nothing for hours. Get my Catwoman glasses on. It's gonna do something right quick, so hang on. Try something here. Trying something new, y'all. Bear with me. Gonna be in my try somethings. Turn that back around though, cause hey Ori. Come on. There. Is that good? Yay, hey. Nope. I just literally downloaded it while I was talking to you guys. While I was trying to get everything set up. Hey Pebbles. You snuck her in on me. Good old Hulkster. Mm-mm-mm. Um, Miss Pebbles, I just sent you a message back with an answer to your question, and also counter that. All right, we ready to get started? I think it's everybody else can just catch on. Nina, is anybody coming for the altar tonight? All right, this one's called I Have a Secret. It's book one of the Christine Chronicles. This is a new to me author. I don't know how many of you ladies have read her before, but this is a new to me author, so I'm looking forward to it. So let's see what we got here. Does he kind of, yeah, okay. I Have a Secret, chapter one. Is this the latest one, Nina, that you were telling me about? Okay, so chapter one. Christine didn't take love lightly and was rethinking her life since she split with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend of 3 years had jilted her before she could take the plunge to become Ms. Seth Seymour. Still, she knew love was somewhere out there waiting on her, but where? The voice in her head was her sister Annie, telling her that everything was going to work out and not to worry. She had learned to be an optimist. Christine had given her heart away on a platter to Seth. The consequences were a 3 year courtship with a man she thought she knew and a canceled wedding. Still, he kept coming back like a bad dream, and she couldn't let him go. Seth had a problem with taking no for an answer, and she always forgave him and took him back. Christine walked up the street carrying the meat she purchased from the grocer for dinner. Her parents had returned from vacation, and she wanted to surprise them with a delicious meal that night. She was the baby of four kids. Annie and Gracie were at college. Robyn, her brother, had died last year from a dreadful disease. She never liked school and had opted to stay in Claremont, Virginia, where her parents, William and Evie Cashwell, owned a bakery. Within the past year, they had retired and turned the bakery over to her. Baking had been her passion since she was a child. Her dream was to become a renowned baker, but she had to get her life in order and decided about Seth. Push that back just a little bit. I knew it was going to do that. Maybe that. But she had to get her life in order and decide about Seth. Grinding her back molars when she thought of Seth was a habit, causing her to curse at the thought of him. The last year of their relationship had been a challenge. Christine remembered the day she caught him with a girl for the first time. She had rushed to Seth's home to surprise him with a birthday party before she got home from work and caught him in a compromised position with a girl. Distraught, Christine ran out of his home. Seth chased after her in the street with a sheet draped over his body. She almost wrecked before she arrived at her parents' home in tears. Seth pursued her for several months before she relented and gave him a second chance. The man had a hook in her nose, and she wanted it removed. Both sisters had rallied around her with support, trying to get her to break up with him. Robyn's death had impacted her emotionally, so she ran back to Seth, absorbing the comfort he gave at the weakest point in her life. The karma from Seth's behavior had spilled over into her family, resulting in Gracie confronting Seth with an altercation involving her fist in his face. Seth threatened to take her to court, but Christine was able to smooth things out between them. Gracie and Annie scorned her when she gave Seth a chance after chance. Her family added misery to the problem from their constant criticism. Christine's father came to her rescue one night, scolding her sisters for their harsh words. "Let her make up her mind. It's her life," William said. Christine smiled. Her father understood the weakness of someone in a jilted romance. Seth and Christine's family were able to remain civil, but it was hard. Seth was born and raised in Claremont. He was the son of an attorney and practiced law with his father, Darren Seymour. His behavior was bratty and spoiled. Father and son both loved women, but Seth's mother always remained loyal to Darren. Seth found it hard to apologize for his catty behavior. As hard as he ran around, Seth chased after Christine, determined to keep her by his side. So far, Seth's antics had worked, but Christine's heart grew weary of his betrayal. Seth took advantage of her weakness, always making excuses for his cheating. Clutching the fresh meat bag, Christine sauntered by Flower Art, the shop next door to her bakery, cookies and cakes. Sherry Parnell was the owner of Flower Art, Claremont's only flourishing florist. Oh, I like mysteries. I don't know about the rest of these bitches on here, but I like mysteries. I love mysteries. So, and I'm good with cozy mystery. But this crew, they love the sexy stuff, but they also like other stuff. They just don't like to admit it. I was gonna say Vincy loves a good mystery, I know. And I think Pebbles does too. She lived with her parents on the outskirt of town and often crashed at Christine's on the weekends. Girls despised Sherry because she dated everyone's boyfriends with no qualms about it, but deep down, she was the nice girl. Sherry and Christine had been friends for years, and Sherry helped her during the turmoil with Seth. Together, they shared men problems, but never seemed to find the right answer for their situation. As Christine walked to her shop, she rubbed her eyes from sheer exhaustion, vowing to break up with Seth and enter the dating scene again. Between the tears and feeling stupid, she had to do something about her own on again, off again relationship. Seth had lied about dating Kendra, the mayor's daughter, but why were they always on the outskirts of town at the International House of Pancakes, or the IHOP as we all know it, having breakfast together? Christine entered the bakery, noticing that her store employees, Debbie Patterson and Jane Meadows, were wearing the new aprons designed with the store's logo. The girls pushed the cart around together and refilled the glass refrigerators and glass counters with fresh baked goods. Christine relied on Jane, a 10-year employee, for support and as a fill-in manager. The bakery had a galley kitchen with the latest commercial bakery equipment, a breakfast from her dad. Oh, I'm sorry. A present from her dad when he gifted her with the business. The storefront had decorative tables with matching chairs and glass counters with mouth-watering displays to tempt the customers. The smell of fresh baked pies out of the oven was welcoming. She had to admit the bread, pastries, and cakes smelled divine. Swinging traffic doors separated the dining room and kitchen. The bakery served teas, specialty coffees, lattes, and small sandwiches for customers who wanted to dine on the premises. Christine was lucky that her apartment was above the bakery, which saved her tons of rent money. Hey girls, it's about time to close. The pies smell good. When did you bake them? Christine said, staring at the cupcakes' fluffy white tops in the glass counters. They should, Debbie laughed. It took me long enough to bake them a couple of hours ago. You'll never guess who was in here today. Christine sauntered to the kitchen, placed her meat in the freezer, then put her apron on. Who? She asked. Jane sighed as Debbie muttered. Seth demanded to know where you were. He looked desperate and unkempt. Are you still dating him, Christine? I thought you broke up with him. Christine ignored Debbie and walked to the cash register. She entered a few codes and tallied the shift receipts. While the cash register computed the sales for the day, she discarded the old baked goods from the glass counters that the girls missed. Pretending not to care, she hated when her heart lied to common sense. What did you tell him? When I start to forget him, he reappears. When I start to forget him, he reappears, Christine declared, blowing out a breath. I swear I can't win for losing. I told him I didn't know where you were. I know how you are when he comes around, Jane replied, placing sale markers throughout the store as they restocked. Debbie went to the front counter, grabbed the glass cleaner, then went back to the refrigerator and scrubbed the glass doors with Windex. A few kids had come in earlier and smeared the doors with fingerprints, grabbing the large cupcakes on sale. The girls stared at one another, waiting for Christine to curse. He wants you to call him, Debbie blurted out. Call your old flame, gal. Who does he think he is? Christine snapped. Really? Why did you have tear-stained eyes this morning? Morning love bells? Debbie asked sarcastically. Christine flipped her eyes toward Debbie. Tears of joy. Are you crazy? Christine snapped. She stepped toward the cash register as she chunked 3 old cupcakes from the glass counters the girls forgot to get rid of in the trash as the receipt report was finalized. Jane smiled. She was glad Christine clipped Debbie's wings. Debbie was sarcastic and teased Christine too much. One day she expected Christine to fire her. Christine, you can always find a man. You're a pretty girl. Don't let Seth drag you down, Debbie added. Christine was silent, ignoring her remark. The silence was broken by the doorbell tinkling when a gorgeous man walked in. He was tall with black wavy hair and was wearing white slacks and a red hooded jacket. Christine's eyes flicked over his body, noticing his abs popping out like cobblestones and his baby blue eyes that looked like half moons. The stranger asked with his eyebrows arched, "Are you open? I know it's about closing time." Christine's mouth twisted, giving him the once over. The man smiled. "Yes, we're still open. What would you like?" Christine asked. The man caught her stares and liked it. He read the sales sign, then gazed at the cupcakes in the counter. "Does the sale start today?" Christine perfected her speech to flirt. Despite her wearied aversion toward men and Seth, she hadn't sworn them off. Men found Christine attractive and flirted with her, but she froze like an icy river. She had sworn to change, and this was her chance. The man sauntered to the glass refrigerators, staring at the baked goods with Debbie, while Debbie and Jane stared holes in him. They pretended to be working. He caught their glimpses and chuckled. Exasperated, he faced them. "Pleasure to meet you, ladies." The girls giggled and smiled back. Christine babbled like a schoolgirl, determined to find out about him. "Yes, choose whatever you like. I just closed out my cash register." Oh, wait a minute, that's Christine reading. "Yes, choose whatever you like. I just closed out my cash register and cannot access my card machine. Can you pay with cash? Do you want me to recommend something?" Christine added, pulling the receipt roll from the computer. The man grabbed 2 cupcakes and 2 croissants from the fridge and placed them on the linoleum counter. "Do you recommend these?" the man asked. The girls noticed how Christine warmed up to the guy. It was a running joke when she flirted with someone that a ribbing session would follow. Debbie hadn't seen Christine open up this fast to a man in a long time. Christine calculated the cost in her head. Wise choice. Wise choice. The cupcakes are $2 each, and the pastries are $1.50 each. The sale is to buy one get one free. The man grinned. $3.50. Correct. Fast calculating. Christine smiled the same way she used to when Seth was around. Her voice teased as she lifted her eyelids toward him. "I hope you enjoy the cupcakes." Debbie twisted her neck to the side, gripping her muscles, trying to relieve pressure while she watched Christine flirt. She wiped the glass door over and over in the same place. Jane rechecked the sales flyers, waiting for Christine to respond. The man pulled his wallet out and paid Christine. "I'll be back. I'm stationed at Fort Lee. My buddies will love this shop. I'm looking for a place to rent. Do you know of any houses or apartments in the area?" "Thanks. We offer discounts to the military. I'll ask my friend who owns the real estate office in town. Bring all your buddies to the bakery. Make sure you come back. What's your name?" Christine asked. Jane giggled to herself at Christine's directness. Debbie elbowed Jane, then smiled at her. "Sergeant Major Thomas William Johnson, at your command, ma'am." He grinned, trying not to laugh. A girl hadn't flirted with him this bad since Diane stood him up at the altar. "Everybody calls me Billy." Christine put the money in the bag as she pulled the drawer to close it down. Her face glowed. "My name is Christine Cashwell. This is my store. The military gets a 10% discount. Stop by any time, Sergeant Major Johnson. It's a pleasure meeting you." Debbie and Jane glanced at each other in shock because Christine had lied about the store discount. "Thanks. I'll be back soon. Do you have something to write my number down on so you can give it to the real estate person?" Billy asked. Christine reached for the pad by the register and the pen in the coffee cup on the counter that held the pens for customers to use. She pushed the pad and pen toward Billy. Here, write it for me, please." Billy set his bag on the counter and wrote his number on the pad. He shoved the pad toward her. "I look forward to hearing from you. You ladies have a great day," Billy said, taking a step back and bumping into a table. He turned to see what he backed into. When he realized that he forgot his bag, embarrassed, he grabbed the bag and left. Christine sauntered to the window when he left the store and watched him cross to the road to his vehicle. She smiled. You know, ladies, that man is my future husband. How do you know, Christine? Are you delusional? Debbie asked as she wiped the last glass door on the refrigerator with cleaner. Christine smirked. I just know. Oh, sure. Debbie shrugged. She walked to the window and stood by Christine. Are you okay? Did we hurt your feelings? I want to bring the shelves from home and install them on the wall in the corner to showcase my bakery knickknacks. What do you think? Christine asked, staring at the Jeep as it drove away. Debbie thought Christine acted like a space cadet sometimes, avoiding the conversation. Using her index finger, she pointed to the Jeep. We're talking Billy, not knickknacks. I know, my future husband, Christine said, giving Debbie a matter-of-fact look. Do you feel well, Christine? Debbie asked. Why are you asking, smarty pants? Christine asked. Debbie stared at her like she had two horns on her head, but she saw two shiny, focused eyes. The last year had been tough on Christine. I don't mean to be. Sometimes you speak out of context. Seth causes you to go into shock sometimes. I just want you to be happy. Christine ignored her and went to the kitchen, leaving the girls speechless. Christine wasn't reacting the way Debbie expected her to act after a year of depression, tears, and heartache. Jane swallowed the fury that rose inside. Why do you do that? She's your boss. Quit treating her like she's crazy. Do you want to keep your job? I can't believe you insult Christine as you do. Yeah, I need to apologize. Christine acts goofy, but I don't want to see her get hurt again, Debbie commented. I love her and want the best for her. The handsome soldier probably has a girlfriend, though. You're an idiot. Honestly, I would fire you. I can't stand to see her cry again. Seth was a womanizer, but this is the first time I've seen her flirt with a man. So what if she's still dating him? Maybe it's going to take her a while to get over him. She acts better than she did when she caught him with Kendra. Go easy on her, Jane said, her smile fading. I don't know why she keeps you on as an employee. Your remarks are crude, baby. Okay, I got the point. I'll apologize. Debbie frowned, thinking about Christine's prediction. Just as they were about to close, the Burleigh County Sheriff walked in. What's the special? What's the special for the day? Sheriff Tucker asked. He was in his usual uniform, consisting of green shirt, loading green pants, and a holster on his hip. With a receding hairline on his tall stature, he carried himself with an air of authority. Christine came from the kitchen with two plants that she set on the counter beside the cash register that her dad had bought for her store displays. Sheriff, we're about to close. I'll give you 2 cupcakes for the house. Jane, is the coffee machine turned off? Christine asked, fluffing the leaves on the new plants. Yes, I turned it off 10 minutes ago. Sorry, Sheriff Tucker, Jane said. My bad. I'll take the cupcakes. I haven't seen you look this good in months. You look rested, Chris, Tucker said. I looked the same to me last I checked, Christine responded. Why would you say that? She broke up with Seth, Debbie winked. Good. You deserve better. I have a nephew that I can set you up with. He makes good money and lives in Richmond. How about that? Tucker smiled. He's a good kid. You'd like him. Christine grabbed the 2 cupcakes, bagged them, and handed the bag to Tucker. No, I'll pass for now. Thank you for your business, Sheriff. Have a good night. See you girls tomorrow. I'll be here earlier to get my coffee and a sweet roll. Let me know if you change your mind, Christine. The sheriff left as Christine laughed. I guess Seth is poisoned. Why does everyone try to fix me up with their single relatives? The soldier is my next project. That sounds good, Christine. Debbie agreed. Jane smiled, knowing the talk with Debbie was needed. All right, you guys. You know I'm having issues with these voices because there's too many females in here. Let me get some gum though, because this mess that I'm on is drying me out. My apologies for smacking gum, but I gotta do something. Okay, chapter 2. Seth had called last night and swore that he wasn't dating Kendra anymore. Christine had allowed him to come over because she was faint-hearted. Somehow they had wound up in each other's arms. Seth touched her in ways that made her forget all the swearing and anger she had toward him when she was with him. He ran his hands through her hair, kissing her gently and begging for forgiveness. It worked, and he was in again. Common sense went out the window as Christine unbuttoned Seth's shirt and let it drop. His popping abs, brown skin, and little waist drew her closer to him. He was sexy with a tattoo of her name written on his arm. He lifted her from the couch, walked the short distance to the bedroom, and laid her across the bed. Hitting the top of the bed with a whoosh, Christine squealed as Seth laughed. He crawled on the bed beside her, kissing her face and body. Then she stopped him. This was wrong in all kinds of ways. He had removed her robe and unlaced her blue camisole from behind, occasionally halting, kissing her as he declared his boundless love for her. The words were candy to her weakened soul. She enjoyed him touching her, but everything was happening too fast. She grabbed the robe on the bed, covered her shivering body, and dashed to the living room. Chanel was in the spare bedroom, whining to get out. The dog was never locked up, but tonight she couldn't deal with Seth and Chanel at the same time. They both demanded too much attention. Seth followed her, ready for a confrontation. I can't do this. I can't do this. You were with Kendra, and all I see is you and her, Christine said, tying the robe around her body. Seth watched her pace around the room, mad that he couldn't take control of her as he wanted. He wanted to prove his love to her in his own way, and she stopped him. He hesitated before he spoke. Christine, come to bed. Let's just go to school. Let's just go to sleep. Let's just go to school, guys. Yeah, come on. Seth walked over to her and pulled her close. She didn't resist. Seth took advantage of the moment. He ran his hands through her hair, pulling out the scrunchie. Her hair fell across her shoulders like a fan. Seth kissed her cheek. I love you, Christine. Cupping the back of her head, he tilted her mouth to his, igniting her soul. She hated that she had so much control, that he had so much control over her. When she got lonesome, she craved his attention. It was happening too many times these days. She closed her eyes, sinking into the kiss, letting herself feel his hands on her back. She wanted all of him. The battle to deny him was hard as she unfolded in his arms as he carried her to the bedroom. Seth rolled over in the bed, staring at Christine as she scooted from the bed and dashed to the bathroom. He stared at the clock on the bedside table. It was 10 p.m. He hoped the last few months could be forgotten and they could piece their relationship back together. Moments later, she returned dressed in a revealing short dress with her hair in a coiffured twist. Seth hurled. Where are you going? I thought we'd have an intimate dinner tonight. I'm going to a party without you. can read better out of these. You can leave whenever you want, but I'm going out, Christine commented, taking a seat in the chair by the window. She bent over and slipped on her tall black lace boots. She pranced to the dresser and added the heart necklace he bought her for Christmas last year. A twinge of jealousy shot through him. Are you breaking up with me? Seth asked, sitting up on the bed. His eyebrows shot upward. Please don't do this, Christine. I love you. When is this going to stop? Yes, we're not an item any longer. I can't get Kendra out of my mind. I'm going out tonight, so you need to be gone when I get back. This is the new me. What just happened between us? Seth exclaimed. It was great, but it's not true love. True love doesn't cheat, Christine snapped. She reached for her red coat and hat from the back of the chair, then stared at him. Seth, there was a time when I would have done anything for you, but something has died in me. Maybe we can rekindle it later, but tonight I'm doing Christine. Christine, wait a minute. Seth scooted off the bed and followed her to the door. His bronze body made her take a second look. She turned and gasped, almost changing her mind. He pulled her close and kissed her, chewing softly on her lips. She returned the kiss, succumbing to his demands. You still want me? He demanded. Yes, but I refuse to be the dumb bunny I used to be. See you later, Seth. Christine grabbed her keys and purse from the coffee table and walked out. Seth stood in the living room, surprised by her actions. He ran to the bedroom and watched her from the French doors get in her car and drive away. Upset, he searched for his cell phone. He looked everywhere, in the living room, kitchen, and bathroom. The last time he'd had the cell was in bed, so he dashed to the bedroom and flipped the sheets on the bed. The phone was under the sheets, in the middle of the bed. He grabbed it and made a call. A male voice answered. Hello? Jack, I need your help with the matter. When can we meet? Seth belted out. Anytime. What do you need me to do? Jack said. I need 2 people watched in every way possible, if you know what I mean, Seth replied, slipping on his pants. Are you busy on a project for my dad? No, I'm free. The last case I worked for you, I almost lost my PI license. It better be something legit. You know, the fees. Who do you want me to watch? Jack said. Christine Cashwell and Kendra Meyers. I want daily reports, Seth said, putting on his shirt. Kendra is bugging me, and Christine is driving me crazy. Your dad will not like this. Do you want me to hide this from him? What's with you and Kendra? I just got through telling Kendra, Jack complained. You want to add more layers to the search, which include the internet calls in their homes, the complete works with pictures and recordings? That will cost you more. That will cost you more money. No, don't tell Dad. Yes, the complete works. I think Christine is seeing someone else, Seth said, taking a seat on the bed and pulling up his socks. I'll start tonight. I'm sending you the contract now. Seth, don't get mixed up with Kendra. She's bad news. I've warned you repeatedly. She dates older men with clout and money. Seth wondered what he was going to do. He loved Christine, but he couldn't let her know about the business arrangement with Kendra. After he ended the call, he decided to wait for Christine and see what time she came home. He changed into a pair of shorts and a t-shirt he had left at her apartment, then headed to the kitchen to make a snack. Christine came in around 1 from a night out with Sherry. They met a couple of guys at the bar, and it turned into a night of boredom with 2 sloppy drunks. The guy with Christine was a braggart, and Sherry's friend was boisterous. She hated bars and drinking, and she was determined to get over Seth. Sherry was a barrel of laughs that made everyone giggle at her corny jokes. The men continued to buy them drinks as Sherry filled their ears with funny stories. How she wished she could be as carefree as Sherry and have that much fun with life. As she drove up and parked in her usual spot behind the store, she noticed Seth's car parked outside. The lights in her bedroom were still on. She frowned, wondering if she'd argue with Seth. Anger rose inside as swear words escaped her lips. Christine dashed upstairs, ready to confront him, but he was asleep in her bed, snoring like a bear with Chanel lying across his feet. She stared at his tan body, hating that his good looks still stared her inside. God, how she could still love him after what he put her through. Why couldn't he just quit running around and let them be happy? Deep down, he still had a large hold on her heart, and if he changed, she'd take him back instantly. Christine went to the bathroom and slipped into a granny nightgown. Hoping to deter his roaming hands, she crawled in the bed, trying not to awaken him. She wasn't used to sleeping with someone. As she drew the covers back, he turned over. He could smell the smoke in her hair. Did you have a good time, Christine? Oh, wait a minute. Did you have a good time, Christine? Get that voice wrong. Why are you still here? Christine asked, hoping he'd shut up so she could go to sleep. Waiting on you. Did you have a good time? Seth asked again. No, I'm not the party animal. He pulled her closer. She didn't resist. Before she knew it, his mouth covered hers in a soft kiss. Seth felt the pounding of her heart as his hands caressed her shoulders. She thought for a minute before she pushed him away. Angry with herself, she jumped from the bed and grabbed the top cover and her pillow. She stomped to the couch with Chanel on her heels. Seth followed her to the living room as she made a comfy spot on the couch. What are you doing? Come to bed. I won't bother you. Seth, we're not getting back together. I'm tired and want to go to sleep. She took her place on the couch as Chanel jumped on top of the covers. Seth eased on the couch beside her and grabbed her hand. Baby, come on. Let's sleep together and talk in the morning. She relented and followed him back to bed. Seth got in the bed first, followed by Chanel, who crawled between them under the sheets. I had a Boston Terrier that used to like to do that. Only she would sleep with her head right here between me and him. Christine crawled onto her side of the bed with her back to Seth, squelching a giggle. Chanel was her shield in the middle of the bed. Chris, move the dog. I want to lie beside you, Seth complained. Christine raised onto her elbows and laughed. She moved Chanel to the other side of the bed and relaxed in Seth's arms. Chanel snuggled up to Christine in her customary ball shape and went to sleep. Christine sighed, knowing that she had given in again. She had some thinking to do, but tonight she would sleep in Seth's arms and forget about her troubles. She felt like a fool, but no one knew her secret. Before her head hit the pillow, she was out. The early dawn light filtered through the blinds as Christine got ready for work. Christine could hear the loud noises coming from the bakery and knew that Debbie and Jane had started the morning baking. When Christine drew back the curtains, Seth woke up and cleared his throat. He sat up in the bed and noticed the steamy cup on the nightstand table for him. Can I come by tonight? No, we're not dating. Remember, we're broken up because you cheated, Christine said, pulling her hair up, then slipping into her work attire. Today she had earned gumption from last night and would put him out. What happened last night? I thought we made restitution between us, Seth demanded, sipping his coffee. Chanel jumped on the bed, licking Seth's face. He rubbed the dog, enjoying the moment. Oh, that? Nothing. Seth, we need to stop seeing each other. I went out with Sherry last night, and we're going out again tonight. Seth, there was a time when no one could take my eyes. You ran around on me multiple times. I can't forget that. Do you have another boyfriend? Seth asked, rubbing Chanel's hand affectionately. Christine rolled her eyes. No, but if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Seth, I'm serious. We're through. Christine went to the bathroom, brushed her teeth, ran a comb through her hair, then pulled it up in a round bun on top of her head. She placed a hairnet over the bun, then applied her makeup. Her eyes became teary. She grabbed a tissue and dabbed at her eyes. Taking a deep breath, she stepped into the bedroom. Seth was gone, and the coffee cup was empty. Thank goodness. She was tired of being a tyrant. Disgusted, she sat on the bed and swallowed back the tears that were desperate to come. It pained her to talk rough to Seth. He still wanted his way, This was the first time she'd even kicked him out of her apartment. All right, this is going to be the last chapter, ladies. It may run a little bit over time because I was a little late getting started, so just bear with me. But we'll read chapter 3 too. Her car was spinning out in the snow. A snowstorm had moved in when she left Claremont, but the snow was not sticking in Virginia. North Carolina was another story. Christine was supposed to meet Seth at a cabin in the mountains of North Carolina. The tiny Chevrolet she rented barely made it into the ruts dug out by monstrous SUVs that by a monstrous SUV that was traveling in front of her as the mud slapped on the car's underside. She thought she was near the cabin, but she was lost. A twist of smoke could be seen through the thick trees. Seth's voice rang in her ear. Don't be late. I have a surprise for you. Seth had stepped up to the plate and showered her with roses, promised her the moon, and been by her side day and night. He was able to win her heart back, but she wondered if she had made a dreadful mistake. Seth had made her promise to come against her better judgment. I promise you a night of love and splendor if you come. Please don't turn me down. Kendra is old news. I've been by your side for weeks. You've got to believe me. I want us to make it. Thoughts of Seth escaped her mind when she pulled into the leveled out ground and a picturesque cabin emerged before her. The GPS finally loaded again in a cell covered area and informed her in the cutesy female voice that she had arrived. The scene looked like a Victorian Christmas set in England, one of beauty and splendor. The cabin was red and black with a large chimney puffing clouds of smoke into the air over the snowy roof. Quaint black shutters hung on the windows in the front of the cabin. Seth's Chevy truck was parked in the driveway. Pine trees lined the driveway with a faint dusting of snow. The snow was sticking in the valley and had frozen at some points as she climbed the elevation. Christine parked and grabbed her purse and suitcase, striking out in the cold. Her feet got stuck in the snow as freezing air went down her throat. She gasped and swore all in one breath. Cold, frozen water tumbled into her boots. With every step to the cabin, the plummeting snow filled Christine's ankle-high boots. Too cute to wear in the snow, they were pointless for her date with Seth if they were wet and washed out. The snow crept into her socks, making her crankier. She dreaded what she would face inside. The makeups were getting old, and she hated herself for giving in to him. What kind of hold did he have on her? Boredom, chaos, and hurt made her come. She dashed for the cabin and reached for the wooden railing on the porch, grimacing at the stack of firewood on the porch that was in her way. Jerking her suitcase onto the porch, she knocked on the door. Seth opened the door, dressed in a white sweater and blue jeans, looking delightful. His neat haircut accented his sapphire brown eyes that burned into her soul. Seth looked good in anything he wore, handsome in all ways. The flames danced in the stone fireplace, giving off enough warmth for a cozy feel. The smell of the roast lingered in the air. Hey, darling, let me get your suitcase, Seth said, reaching for her luggage and pulling her inside. He pushed the luggage next to the closet by the entrance doorway, then reached for her. I've missed you. I thought I plugged that thing up. Damn it. Oh, one that has to be sitting on top of it, though. Everybody drunk yet? Hey, darling, let me get your suitcase. I've missed you, Seth said, planting a soft kiss on her lips. Christine returned the kiss, then stood back. I need to change clothes. My feet got soaked when I stepped in the muddy snow. Seth stared at her boots, then into her eyes, and noticed her disgust. Are you sorry you came here? Seth, don't start. I came, but we have issues. How do you expect me to feel? Christine hurled. It took all her willpower not to wave goodbye to his sad eyes. Fair enough. The trajectory of my career follows my path. However, tonight we're going to talk about the healing path for getting married. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I love you, Christine, Seth proclaimed with confidence. Christine grabbed her suitcase and rolled it into the living room. She tried to swallow, but her throat was constricted from the cold air she had swallowed. Taking a seat in the recliner by the couch, she opened the suitcase and searched for socks and bedroom shoes. While she swapped out her wet socks and boots, she changed the subject. The food smells good, Seth. What's for dinner? Seth rambled about what he had prepared while Christine blinked, glancing back at the bewitching man she loved with all of her heart. Seth was attractive, but she felt her love slipping from him. Seth allowed her the space to be quiet and sad, and he didn't inspire a smidgen of her former self to emerge. It was easy to release a few smiles, but something was changing inside. Where was the love she desperately wanted to share with him? It was tainted. Still, they tried to recapture something that was slipping away. That sounds good, Seth, Christine added. Go get ready for dinner and change clothes. The bedroom is at the back of the cabin. I'll have dinner ready when you come back. Seth smiled. Sounds good, sweetie, Christine murmured, placing her shoes and socks on the fireplace hearth to dry quicker. She headed to the bedroom with her suitcase. From the stack of papers and a laptop that claimed the coffee table in the living room, it appeared Seth had been working on a case with his father. She flexed her lips into a smile. Working and loving were things Seth did well, but remaining monogamous was hard for him. She had already made up her mind tonight that she would end the relationship. The war inside was strenuous, making it hard for her to focus. Her indecisiveness was driving her crazy. No matter how hard she tried to forget, she had to be with him until the flame of love was exhausted. Something had to change. Christine stared at the bedroom that resembled a bachelor's pad in dark reds and browns. It looked like a Christmas explosion had occurred on the walls and floor. A fire danced gingerly in the fireplace near the bed, warming up the room like a toaster. Oh gosh, it's already too hot in that room for me. She placed her clothes in the dresser and hung up her clothes in the closet, thinking about her brother. If only he were here, she could confide in him. The loss penetrated her heart like a well-aimed sword as the tears fell freely. Once her suitcase was emptied, she changed into comfortable clothes. Tomorrow would usher in the beauty and shine on the trip she planned to the beach. Her fingers were crossed that it would happen. Chest heaving, she swiped the sweat from her forehead and walked into the living room. Maybe Seth wasn't meant to be her husband, but tonight she'd take advantage of the hunk in the living room. Seth sat at the kitchen table, waiting on her, peering into his laptop. She admired him for working hard as an attorney, but sometimes she felt sorry for him. She often wondered if he'd straighten up. The table was set with candles and a meal fit for a king. Forget about impressing me, Seth. What do you have up your sleeve? Christine asked. Seth closed the laptop and placed it to the side. A dream come true for you and me. Have a seat, honey. A dream for me or you? Christine asked, easing into the wooden chair as her eyes caught the ring box in front of her plate. Seth stared at her face for a reaction. Open it, Christine. I love you. Christine clipped her eyes toward Seth, then grabbed the box. She gasped when she saw a stunning 4-carat rock resembling the one she had picked out 6 months ago. Seth, you remembered the ring I wanted. It would help if you discussed this with me before you bought it. In any case, we're not ready for marriage. Seth went to her side of the table and got on his knees. He grabbed the ring in her hand, then stared into her eyes. Seth's eyes looked lonely, begging for her approval. I love you, Christine. Will you marry me? I know we will still have trust issues to work on, but I want to make this work. Seth placed the ring on her finger as she thought about the past year. We need to talk. I can't agree with the thought of marriage without going to couples therapy with you. You refuse to go to therapy. I can't face the pain and hurt without taking precautions. Christine's breath caught as she eyed the diamond on her finger. She wanted to say yes. Gosh, she hated the wars in her head. Seth dropped his head. I understand. Just wear the ring and see how you like it. I thought you wanted me to settle down and get married. I know I've been a big goof, but I'm trying. I'm hungry and I'm tired. Why can't we work into the marriage and not rush? You're determined to have your way, Seth. Not tonight. I thought you were going to adjust to me, not rushing me into your wants. Trust has to be rebuilt. Seth got up and took a seat in his chair with an angry expression. His gut twisted as he told himself that things would be fine. Let's eat, then we'll discuss what you want to do. I'm determined to win you back at any cost. I can't imagine why you won't agree to get married. Christine gazed into his eyes. He was lying. His eyes always twitched when he lied. They ate in silence as Seth tried to hide his disappointment. Fear settled in her chest as anxiety built inside the steam in like a steam engine. Why was he in a hurry to get married? The walls felt like they were closing in on her as she took a deep breath. A panic attack took over as she heaved. Christine couldn't take the silent whipping, so she decided to lie to him. Tomorrow, she'd make the dreaded call and break up with him. Inside, she wanted to scream. Anything to get him out of his mood. Seth's attitudes were like a thunderstorm. She shoved a bite of roast in her mouth and spoke like she intended to be his wife. Seth, I'll marry you. I love the ring, she said affectionately. Seth smiled. He never said a word. She stared out the living room windows at the falling snow. She puffed her cheeks, then blew out a breath. The gloom of the past couldn't ruin the present. If Seth could lie to her, then she'd fib to get her way until she was safely home. After a long silence, Seth started rambling about the house he had bought for them while she ate in silence. Christine had never seen him talk about home and marriage all in one sentence. The home he recently purchased was an expensive two-story spread outside of town. She dared not to interrupt his conversation for fear of another argument. Seth's phone buzzed on the table. He ignored it. The phone continued to buzz. Finally, he answered in a snappy voice. Hello? Dead silence filled the room as Seth glanced at Christine, trying not to read her. Give me a minute, Seth said, placing his hand over the phone. Christine, I have to take this call from a client. I have to go to the other room. She nodded in approval, knowing what her next move would be. It was Kendra. He wasn't going to drive her batty tonight with his lies and fast moves. Seth stepped into the bedroom, leaving his Mac on the table. Just as Seth closed the bedroom door, Christine went to his Mac and flipped it open. Oh boy, I got you tonight, she thought. She entered his passcode, which she learned by watching him log in numerous times. Seth didn't know that she'd been snooping on his phone and investigating his internet searches. His iPhone messages went to his Mac so she could see who he'd been texting. Seth's voice escalated in the bedroom as Christine went through the messages. Her eyes settled on the recent ones from Kendra, which were from tonight. Kendra, I miss you and had a great time with you last night. When are you going to confirm the flight to New York next week with me? Where are you now? I need to talk to you. Love, Kendra. Seth, I have a meeting with a client in North Carolina this weekend. I'll confirm the flight on Monday, Christine. Christine broke up with me, so we don't have to worry about her. All of her bravado melted away as hurt and fury filled the void in her soul. She wanted to run. She pulled out her phone and thumbed up to the app that tapped the calls he had made from his cell. She paid a fortune for this app. The app opened and she saw that the incoming call was from Kendra. Rage coursed through her body, giving her a new high. Christine rushed to the bedroom and pushed the door open. She overheard Seth begging the caller not to hang up. She grabbed her suitcase and threw it on the bed, tossing her belongings in the suitcase. Seth hung up the phone, staring at her in disbelief. What are you doing, Chris? Going home. You need to get up with Kendra. I'm done. Kendra wants you to go to New York with her, and she misses you. Oh, yeah, you've changed. How stupid do you think I am? Christine hollered as tears ran down her cheeks. After her bag was packed, she grabbed her coat, slipped on her hiking boots, and grabbed her keys. Seth ran behind her, begging her not to leave. Please, I can explain. Christine, I love you. Stop making a fool of yourself, Christine fumed. Christine, I'll be fine. I can't do this anymore. You're a cheater and won't ever stop. I'm not going to fall apart this time, Christine yelled. Christine reached for the door handle. Seth didn't try to stop her. He knew Christine was tired of his worn out lies. She opened the door and was greeted by cold air. It had quit snowing, which was to her advantage. She pulled the key fob from her purse and pushed the engine start button, and the car cranked. Christine threw her bag in the back seat, then dropped into the driver's seat, stuffing the thick white coat down as she slid the seat back. Seth stood on the porch watching her, hoping she was dumb enough to come back. Christine touched the screen monitor. A map of Boone, North Carolina filled the screen. Destination? Christine pressed the microphone icon and said, "Close by hotels in Boone." The map came back with a gazillion hotels. They both knew it was over. Her heart stung at her stupidity as she backed out of the driveway, knowing that it would never be the same between them. Why did she think anything would change? Was she the dummy? She gripped the steering wheel like it was Seth's neck and drove down the road like a mad hatter. She touched the phone app on the car monitor. "Call Seth." The phone went straight to voicemail. "Seth Seymour, leave a voicemail and I'll return the call at my earliest convenience." His happy tone stung her like a hornet, yet 5 calls in, she was still mad. She grimaced. Leaving another ranting voicemail was crazy, and she ended the call as she pulled into a hotel parking lot. She made a reservation on her phone and got the last hotel room. She registered at the front desk, then walked the distance to her room. Christine set her suitcase in the chair by the window and crawled on the bed. She swiped her swollen eyes, ignoring the smeared makeup and mascara that was on the back of her hand. Christine redialed Seth's number, and he answered. She hung up and flung herself across the bed, sobbing hysterically. He hadn't even tried to call her. After a good cry, her door handle rattled. She thought it was Seth, but how could he know where she was? Christine peeked out the window as the person left her door and crawled into an SUV. Christine collapsed against the door, her butt sliding out from her under her until she was on her back, staring at the ceiling. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She scolded herself to stop crying, hoping she wouldn't have a sleepless night. She lay there for the longest time, wondering where she would be this time next year. When she couldn't cry anymore, she jerked herself from her heart-wrenching past to the painful present. She scooted to her feet, then changed into her gown. The only thing she could do was pray. Alone in the room with the reminder of Seth on her finger, she pulled the ring off and tucked it safely in her purse. Tomorrow she would sell it and make new plans. Somehow she'd get through the night. All right, ladies, what y'all think? Pretty good, huh? I like this, Miss Patricia. You did good. Okay. So what other kind of books do you write, if I may ask? Because you said this was, what did you say? You said, okay, you write other kinds of sexy books. What other stuff do you write? Hell, we share a PA, and I didn't even know you were one of her minis. And I left my phone in there. Crime Murder. Okay, I have to check it out. Now, do you write those under Patricia, or? Yeah, I figured that out. Or is Robyn strictly for the cozy mysteries, or what do you write your crime murder stuff under? Oh, no children books. I got plenty of those around here. Okay, all under Robyn. Okay. I'll have to look you up and see what you got then. So, all right, ladies, it is time for me to get off from here and go crash. You guys see my freeway out here? Actually, it's not a freeway. It's just a state highway that's 2 lanes. Okay. some people do pen names for each type of genre that they write. So I wasn't sure if you were one of those. So, um, alrighty, ladies. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Go check out Patricia's books. Go check this one out so you can finish it, and then wait on the next one. Whoop whoop. Um, you're most welcome, Miss Pebbles, and you're welcome too, Miss Patricia. I appreciate you let me read it. I like the different. I liked it a lot. So alrighty. I'm hoping to get some more of my bedroom put together this weekend, or my office, or whatever you want to call this. Hoping to do some more this weekend. So I gotta find a new quilt though, because the quilt I ordered, which was perfect, they canceled that order. They said they were out of stock. So then I gotta find it somewhere else or find one like it. So all right, ladies, have a good weekend and go read some books and put up the trees and all that other stuff. Whew. And you know, I have never watched one of my other readings. I can't make myself do it. I'm kind of like a lot of readers, a lot of authors who don't like to hear their stuff read. So I have a lot of authors that won't show up because they don't want to hear their stuff read. So yeah, it is what it is. We all crazy in our own way. Alrighty then, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I shall see you next week.